I am Dungeon Master, your guide in the realm of Dungeons and Dragons.
All right, welcome back, everyone. I am the Dungeon Master, and this is Dragons of War. We are rejoining part of the party as they have just finished battling the Spectre and his Draugr minions as they tried to use the meteorite that fell to perform some ritual. You're actually not quite sure what they were trying to do, but it seems as though they were trying to bring the Spectre back to unlife. If you had to, guess as to what the ritual was that they were doing. And so you guys have, you know, earned your rest, and you spend the evening, regaling each other with stories of the fight and, laughing at some of the funnier moments and getting serious when you remember that some of you almost died. And the evening celebrations wear on, and in the morning, Gorakul, you awaken to see Scout up already and exploring the area. Scout, while you were exploring the area, you caught sight of something, and you're actually like off trying to track it down. And so Gorakul, that's what you see as you awaken, is Scout like tracking something and moving away from the camp.
Oracle sort of looking back at the reformed star that they've brought together and sort of like looking back at Scout. He sort of like decides to follow him and says, "Oi! Oi, oi, that morning there, Scout. How are you doing?
Morning, Caracol. I'm good. I found some tracks that I'm curious about, thinking of hunting down and seeing what other mysteries are in this cave.
Is you certain that's a smart idea? Because there's there certainly seems to be a lot of dangers around here.
And
Cool.
Elodie, as you're meditating and getting your elven rest in, suddenly you hear Gorakul and Scout discussing whether or not they should be exploring around the area. And as everyone else is asleep, Scout begins to explain that it's more than just these tracks that he saw. He saw movement in the camp, which alerted him to the tracks, and now he is trying to find out what dared get right up on you guys and whether it was friendly or not.
Well, Elodie says, kind of awakens from her meditation, kind of turns to them, goes, "Well, if there's something that could pose a danger to the camp, while everyone's asleep, it'd be good for us as the ones that are still awake to make sure no damage comes to the party."
Well, that's a really nice way to say we should do this instead of I just want to go and figure out who made the tracks.
I'm always trying to protect those I'm around. Though I do, of course, have some curiosity.
You have such elegant words.
That is certainly elegant, and I cannot agree more. And of course, we certainly don't know what to. And there certainly must be sort of like something special about these caverns.
I'm just hoping I don't stumble across some more undead skeletons that surprise me because I didn't see them.
Yeah, the Draugr didn't come out of the caves, so whatever was right up in your guys' camp, you probably are gonna want to make sure it wasn't the undead because like the Draugr weren't coming out, but if there is something that is.
Indeed.
All right, so we should probably see what the tracks are, follow wherever Scout saw the movement, see if we can find anything.
Yeah, so Scout, do you have the highest survival? Who's gonna take the tracking check to try and track the tracks?
I have a survival of 2.
I have a +3.
That's
Ooh.
so far +3 is the best out of all of us.
All right.
So does somebody want to aid Elodie? Oh, never mind. She's
No, I
got
think
it.
she's got it.
I was like,
Yeah.
never mind.
She's like, get out of here. Get out. I got this. You're blocking my son.
Hey, look, there's what I saw. Oh, wait, she already saw it.
Yeah. So she shows you where the tracks go, and although you can't really like get a good sense of what it could be based on the tracks, because instead of being like footprints and everything, like this is a more solid rocky ground. The tracks are more like disturbed ground and moved rocks and scuff marks and stuff like that that allow you to see that something was moving through there rather than exactly what it was. Could have been a wolf, could have been a deer, could have been an undead knight, not really sure.
Okay. So I can see where the tracks lead, right?
Yes.
All right. So I explain to the group where I see the tracks leading and suggest that we start to follow them. However, even though I'm the one that can see where they lead, I shouldn't fully be in the front, simply because Elodie knows how weak she is sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, the tracks go
If,
that way, but you guys should definitely get in front of me.
of course, I believe Scout should be in the front.
I'll go ahead and stand in front of Elodie and put her hand around the belt area so that she can move me forward or stop me. And I'll go ahead and pull my rapier at this time.
Yeah. And you guys see that the tracks lead into a different part of the cavern system here in the flat top Starfall Hill.
I see black.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's because
There will
we
be
don't
more
have dark vision.
if you go into the cave, but for now
I don't
there's
even see
just a
my
cave.
icon.
No, I know. I'm saying that like if you go into the cave, you'll be able to see something, but until you say you do, you're not in the cave.
Okay, then let's go in the cave.
Yeah? But you don't want
Of
to go in
Yeah, I mean, if
first,
that's
right?
where the tracks lead.
Oh, I'm the one that's in the lead, so as she moves me to follow the tracks, I'm moving.
Okay. Yeah. So, you guys all um, move into the cave. And I'm just getting y'all onto the tracker there. Holy cow, Elodie, you have no hit points. I mean, you have about 10 points left, but
Yeah.
that's that's like half of everybody.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm saying I'm pretty weak. I made my constitution my lowest thing for some reason.
Yeah, that's usually not recommended.
It is
Just
what it is.
yeah. That's all right. That's all right. It's my favorite character in literature history. My brother's favorite character, so much so to the point that he got a tattoo of it. One of my wife's favorite characters, so much so that she's named one of her stuffed animals after it. Raceland Majir from the Dragonlance series also had Constitution as his dump stat, so it's not that it can't be done. It's just usually it's not recommended.
It is what it is. You know, the only time I died, I wasn't even playing my character. So,
Right? Right?
There's one way to look at that achievement.
Indeed.
That actually happened in one of my other games. Somebody had to leave early, but because they were already in the combat, I couldn't just like ad hoc them out of the combat. And even though I tried not to, target them, like the NPC still had to take optimal attacks and stuff. And so they ended up dying, and it was terrible. I felt really bad.
very unfortunate.
Yep.
And of course, you can be me and choose the wrong spells and all that stuff and end up dying.
Yeah.
It's always good opportunity to die.
Yeah. You haven't died all that often though. You just for whatever reason like went crazy when you saw Visanthus and like he's a vampire. What he's gonna drink your blood.
It was just the most in character thing for Soggy.
I get it. I'm not blaming you or nothing. I'm just saying it was a weird choice.
He's
So
not blaming you much. Yes, I press forward.
yeah, so you guys are going in and suddenly you can roll for perception. Uh-oh. Scout, you actually do hear, and Gorakul, you hear uh the yip, yip, yip language of a creature that you're probably familiar with.
Soggy, sir.
Do you want insight or perception for me to try and figure out what it is?
Let's go with insight.
Gorakul sort of realizes what it is and mutters to himself, "Oh God, it's kobolds."
Yeah, and you can hear them up ahead.
Elodie, for some reason, really can't hear what they're hearing, but trusts that they probably know what's going on, as she's not spent that much time in this area.
Elodie, prepare for a fight.
Okay.
Unless we can resolve this peacefully, though I doubt it, because in my experience, kobolds are a bit of a sort of fanatics to dragons.
Scary.
Well, then I'll leave it up to you to talk sense into him.
Yes, I am one of the few who know Draconic.
As you come around the corner, you see a small kobold. He stands.
Elodie down, not up by the stairs.
He stands stiff and seems scared as he readies his spear.
And Gorakul sort of notices and says in Draconic, "Hold your horses. Let's be civil here. Just calmly put down the spear."
Well, you can't see him yet, and you guys are going to have to roll initiative at this point.
All right, sorry.
I don't remember how to roll initiative.
Main page, INIT, right next to your AC and your speed.
Also, if you have the combat tracker open, if you click on the sword for offense, it's right there.
Thank you.
So the kobold lowers his spear and withdraws back into the cave.
Maybe he's listening to you.
No, like lowers in a defensive, like ready to stab you if you come close.
Oh, right, correction. Karakul, I believe your diplomacy is needed up ahead.
Yes. Oh, you saw one of them?
Yes, he's up the stairs up here. And he looks like he's ready to defend his position.
Maybe you can ask him what his intentions are. Since we were coming out here just to make sure we weren't going to be attacked.
So, Scout, do you do
I'm going to
anything?
hold my action to allow for Karakul to do diplomacy.
And Gorakul, seeing his
Oh,
chance,
now you can see him.
and Gorakul's sort of walking forward where the kobold is and says, "Hello, little kobold." And I sort of say this in Draconic and says, "Do not worry, we're not here to kill anyone or or anything. We're just here to check on things and make sure that that to see what your intent is. It's just a peaceful thing. And Gorakul sort of hears this and says, Yes, we're not. We're just trust us, and we're not going to hurt you. Just peaceful folk. Understood? And I'm going to roll a persuasion check. Gorakul, so hearing this, says, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm just Oof. What do you mean by hurt? I don't remember encountering another kobold. Or are you just paranoid that I might have the potential of hurting you? I need to understand this.
Yep, but unfortunately, that is the extent of what you can do on your turn. You've had your moment of conversation.
Understood.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna say Elodie's a little freaked out. She's never heard this language before. But she carefully just kind of approaches slightly. We'll just move over here just so she can see a little bit more of what's going on. But she's just intently listening and wanting to hear the end of Gorokul's conversation.
And the kobold withdraws, but only half speed. And he calls out,
And Gorakul, so hearing this, mutters to himself, Oh dear.
I'm going to position to guard the rear and hold.
Oh, I'm sorry, Gorakul. I'm making it your turn again. I was a little too quick on the trigger.
I was wondering.
Well, I hit end turn, and I guess the Dungeon Master did it as well for me.
No,
Gor-
there's some kobolds who are hidden, so you can't see their turns.
Of course, so Gorakul is going to see and try and see if he can spot the hidden kobolds.
You don't see anybody yet, but if you roll for perception, you might be able to hear them if they're near. Over the noise of this kobold, you don't really hear them.
Sort of like cautious, being the cautious fellow he is, says, Now, let's all be civil here and just be calm and collected. Alright? Let's not stab anyone, and let's not go and do something we might regret, and just be peaceful. Understood? And I'm going to try another persuasion.
Yep.
Of course. No hurt. Also, what kind of color is the kobold?
He's sort of like a rust colored, metallic.
So, from what I'm understanding, he might be a kobold of a metallic dragon.
Might be.
DM, I have an out of character that I DM to you.
Okay. 1 second. And then is that your turn, Gorakul?
Yep, sort of understanding that the kobold means no harm, he says to the others, "All right, I have managed to peacefully," saying this in common, says, "All right, I have managed to peacefully make them help them help them understand that we mean no harm. So I think we're good," Gorakul says to the others.
All right. Well, then Elodie kind of asks the group what our intentions here then. If they seem pretty reserved and are just looking to make sure there's no harm that comes to them, is there anything else we need to do here, or should we just? I mean, we could ask to see if any of them came out and came near our camp, but
As long as they don't mean us any harm, I don't see the point in bringing them any harm.
yeah. So, should we head back towards the camp?
I mean, I'm sure, if anything, we should try and talk to them and understand why they were at our camp.
Probably the same reason we're encroaching on them. But we can always ask if they need any assistance.
Of
Yeah.
course.
So I'll just walk forward a little bit, so I can see a little bit more. But I'm gonna end my turn. Hopefully on Gorakul's turn he can see if they need anything or why they're so scared.
Yep. All right. So, 1 second.
That's a sneaky way to add the sneak attack in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just adding it in as a separate weapon class above.
I'm also trying to get your short bow to show up under actions. I'm not sure why it's not.
Oh, I can take care of that. I was doing that in the background.
But yeah, that way you don't have to have all those extra attacks. All right. So, Kobold 3. And then Kobold number 4 comes around and is like, and he gets his sling out and is ready to sling Elodie.
That would not be in the Cobalt's best interest.
Goracool sort of sees it and hears this and says, easy now, easy now. We're not here to hurt anyone. We're just here to see if you need anything, need any help.
I'm going to advance up, and I'm going to hold my turn pending their attack.
So you ready in action to shoot them if they attack?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Goracool sort of sees Kobold number 4 sort of trying to throw a slingshot and sort of standing in the way and says, easy now, easy. We are not hostile. We are simply travelers that trying to understand what's going on here, and if you need any help. And I all say this in Draconic to them. Do I need to make their persuasion check?
Yes.
Anyone willing to help?
I will gladly assist him in persuasion.
Well, but
Yeah,
you have your short bow out though, so that's probably not going to.
Oh, it's very persuasive.
I have
Yeah.
very good persuasion.
Right,
So
but they also can't understand you.
that's what I was wondering. I was like, can any of us actually help?
I can do intimidation. That would be very helpful.
That might.
Though it might have the
I feel like that would be the opposite of helpful in this circumstance.
That also might be the case.
Oh, you like my sarcasm, I see.
Well, I mean,
Um,
intimidation might help. You know, maybe persuasion isn't the road to go. Maybe you just need to be like, get out of here, you little vermin.
Goracool, you tell them to calm down. If they attack, I will kill them.
all right, well, I mean, I think we just need like Oracle to roll for persuasion and see if they're willing to tell us any information about if they need something or why they're so scared.
DM, do I get any advantage from the help?
You get a +2 because Kobold number 3 was like, you know, saying that you can be trusted, so like you get a little bit of a bonus, but not advantage. All right. So, the kobolds that are here are like visibly relieved as they like have their weapons no longer in attack position and are like, "Oh,
I unnock and I lower the short bow in response to their relaxing.
And Gorakul sort of sees this and says, and sort of nods, sort of saying, "Good, good. Now we are understanding one another."
All right. Well, I think Elodie just wants to continue to see where this goes. Um, have they said any information, or is it more just saying like, okay, we understand that you're not going to attack us?
They haven't said any information about their situation just yet.
Okay, so I'm gonna stay here. I don't want to advance too close. We'll just wait.
Kobold number 3 says,
And Gorakul sort of raises an eyebrow and says, "Huh, so they're interested in trade," as he thinks to himself.
oh, and by the way, everybody else, what you hear is a series of yip, 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 yip.
Fantastic.
I'm sorry, could you demonstrate that again? The dialect was spot on.
Yeah, uh, it, uh, it can be seen in replays. And this one actually steps forward and begins rummaging through his pouch.
I'm still just holding. As long as everything's peaceful, there's nothing for me to do.
But your arrow is loose. Is it still knocked or?
Nope, it is not knocked. It's still in the bow, but I don't have it knocked and I have the bow down.
Yep. Okay. So you're just holding an arrow and your bow and just waiting.
Waiting very impatiently.
Yep.
So Gorakul, sort of hearing them, sort of so looks to the group and says, "We haven't had. Have we got materials for trade? Because they seem interested in trade."
Well, the question is what do they want to trade for? What do they need? What do they want?
Well, the first thing from one of them, they seem to be interested in food.
What would
And
the exchange be? Like, what are they? Ask them at least what they're offering. I also like don't know what we have food wise to offer, but
I have 10 days worth of rations that are of no need to me. They're stored on me because I'm usually used as a pack mule in the military.
okay. So let's see what they're offering and why they need the food. Figure out if we want to trade.
Gorakul sort of looks to the kobold and says, "So, would you what would you trade in return for for food to eat?" And Gorakul sort of translates for them the whole like dialect of them, like them wanting meat like rabbit and bird.
They want rabbit and bird, which means hunting. But what do they offer us in return for the stuff?
Kobold number 9 steps forward and proudly holds up a necklace made out of some sort of like dried plant material, and as the rope holding it together, and then braided throughout it there's like little tokens, like um, a rock that is like polished, and couple feathers, like different kinds of feathers, and the centerpiece is a large tooth.
Well, as prestigious as that would be, I would hate to take such a treasure away from them. Maybe they can provide us information on the cave system and
And
maybe a
Gorakul,
guide
looking down at that,
or
says,
what else is in there.
That is very nice, but you know what would be good? If you could trade with us information, like maybe sort of information about the caves, and in return, you get food. Does that sound nice? Ah, good, 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 good. And Gorakul sort of pulls out some rabbit rations from his pack and says, "So, for food, you give us information about the caves. That is a very good deal." And he sort of hands over the meat.
They ravenously tear into the rabbit before stuffing the rest of it into their pack.
Yes.
Seeing this, I'm just going to go ahead and put the arrow away and store my bow.
And Gorakul sort of sits down and starts to listen to their information.
That's it.
Gorakul sort of like curves and sort of raises an eyebrow and says, "Well, I imagine it would be large. Would be large." And Sir says, "Is there anything of note that you've seen? Maybe you can tell us that, and in return we give you more food." You know, anything of interest, like for say, if there was some sort of strange crypt or some Gorakul sort of tries to make it sort of dumb it down so they can understand. Like, um, let's say a big monster that you try and avoid. Anything of like something shiny or something strange and out of place. Those sort of things. Indeed, I know that you avoid folks like us, but I is there anything of note that just sort of like anything shiny or unusual? And I sort of like offer them some more meat based rations.
There,
Scout moves over to this rock and just takes a seat.
yeah, they're willing to take, more of the food, and they continue to like describe everything, but it's all from like a kobold's perspective. So like if you want to know about the caves, they're big, they're wet, they're hard, they're, twisty. Um, all of those are things that they're going to tell you about the caves. And then as that goes on, um, they once again offer you the necklace.
I sort of look at it and I sort of says, "All right, I'll consider it a sort of understanding, a peace treaty, as you can say, and as and we'll leave you be."
And uh, as you touch the necklace, um, you get a sense that like you're being affected by magic, but like nothing is happening.
Gorakul sort of curiously looks at the thing and tries to identify if there's anything of note on it, like anything magical.
You can roll for perception or investigation. I'm sorry.
DM, while he just tinkers,
Yeah,
I'm gonna pull out my mess kit and cook up one of my rations for them.
they all gather around eagerly. This smells delicious. And as you investigate, Gorakul, you see that there is indeed a small rune carved into the tooth, and it is glowing slightly.
Do I know what sort of rune it is?
No, you haven't seen this kind of rune before.
Is it a rune in Draconic or
Yeah,
Giant?
it's a rune in Draconic.
So, what is the rune says in Draconic?
It runes don't say anything. They just have different, you know.
Their meaning?
Yeah. Uh,
That's a really good meal I cooked up.
yeah, and as it, roasts and cooks, the kobolds like start to push and shove each other to get closer.
I split up the meal evenly amongst the three of them and hand them their portions.
One of them
And then
gets
I'm going to clean up my gear.
one of them gets done eating before the rest and starts to eye up his neighbor's half a meal.
So, does the rune mean anything?
You can't tell. And suddenly he reaches for his food, and the other one shoves him, and now they're rolling around on the floor biting each other.
Gorakul sort of sighs, so seeing this, and talks, sort of looking to the one that isn't fighting, says, "Say, I noticed there's a draconic rune on this."
He growls at you and scarfs down his food.
Scout is amused and just kind of chuckles while he watches them fight.
Gorakul
I
says,
don't-
"No, I'm not here. I'm not trying to touch your food. I'm just trying to understand what exactly this necklace is all about."
What's that, Elodie?
I was just gonna say I don't know how much more we're going to get out of them since now they're more focused on food than us.
Oh, no worries, Elodie. It's all about making friends now. Who knows? The ankle biters might come and save us at some point.
Indeed, it is better to make allies than enemies in my philosophy.
It's better to make allies because enemies just die.
Indeed. And Gorakul, sort of holding the necklace, stores it away and says, "All right, I believe that's all we can say and do. Thank you again, O kobolds, and we'll make sure to leave you alone, leave you be, and we'll be going back to our campsite. All right?"
They're so busy now. The one who wasn't fighting has gone over and grabbed the food that the other two like left aside as they are still rolling on the ground fighting, and he's eating that.
All right, let's just leave quietly and head back to camp. I don't think they're going to cause us any trouble.
Of course.
I let Garakul and Elodie go in front. Now I take up the rear as we head back.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean they allow you to leave with no issues, and you guys eventually make it back to camp, and now you're able to you know discuss or do whatever about the necklace. What do you want to do?
In any case, I'm going to sort of like take my time to look at at the the sort of piece of the star.
Well,
Okay.
I was gonna ask for Gorakul, if there's anyone. I mean, obviously seems like a man that reads, studies different things about what he encounters, and I was wondering if he knows anyone who could know about the rune or anything like that that we could find and ask, or if there's any information that he thinks we could find about it.
Well, from the looks of it, this looks like kobold work. And he sort of like, as he sort of like, he shuffles to his back and shows the necklace again to shows the necklace to Elodie and says, "If anything, this might be something absolutely unknown to most people. And I don't know if anyone I've met knows about this. DM, should I roll it in some sort of...
No, but as Gorakul is speaking to you, he is speaking in Draconic, and you can't understand a word that he's saying, Elodie. But as he shows you the necklace, as you reach out and touch it, suddenly you can understand him.
Ah,
Something the matter?
well, I couldn't understand you before, but now that I'm touching the necklace, I do. It sounds like you're speaking my native tongue.
Hmm. So this... And I sort of like, allowing Elodie to hold it and says, "It seems like this is a translating necklace. Curious." So,
This could very much come in handy if we ever encounter any of them again, because then we'll have more than just you to communicate.
indeed, I imagine you would want to hold on to it, because you seem to be the more diplomatic of the group.
I do love talking to new people.
Good, good. And I sort of return to observe and to scanning and observing the broken piece of the star.
Okay, and now you can roll an investigation or astrology check for the star.
I'm going to certainly do an astrologer's kit.
Mm-hmm. All right. And as you continue your investigation of this meteorite that has fallen, you notice that the glow um, is getting dimmer and dimmer.
Interesting. It seems like the power from this crystal is slowly diminishing. And I started looking at it, says saying it might be that this that this crystal has lost energy due to the ritual. Hmm. This is certainly an interesting case. And thinking back through the crystal, I sooner sort of like sort of like jolt to see to check on the slime egg that I've stored in my ink bottle.
Yeah.
I sort of check up on the bottle to see if it has melted or something.
No, the bottle has not melted.
So I sort of sigh in relief, seeing that the egg is still is hasn't like melted through it, and I sort of wonder for a second if I could transfer the egg into one if the crystals are immune if I can remember if the crystals are immune to the to the slime's acid.
Okay.
What would I need to roll?
Well, I mean, you can remember that the slimes were all in and around it, so if the slime's acid dissolved it'd be pretty melted.
Yes, but none of the crystals were dissolved when they
Right,
had.
right.
So I sort of get this idea to turn the crystal shard, the crystal piece that I'm holding, into a containment, into a container for this, for the for the egg that I can observe into.
Okay.
So it's a bit more clearer than the glass than the inky glass. Can I do that, DM?
Possibly it might take some work though. It's not, you're not a craftsman, so being able to just you might have to find somebody to do that for you. Um,
And
but
I sort of look to the those available and say, "Pardon, do any of you know how any of you known for craftsman work?"
Not really here.
I can craft you a weapon? Shank, maybe?
Can you craft me a bottle?
No. Be interesting to try.
Well, the reason I ask is because I I wish to transfer my subject, who is currently gestating inside my ink bottle, into a see-through crystal bottle that they won't burn through.
I don't think I can help you with that.
Might you know anyone who might help with that?
Bards are kind of crafty.
So maybe the gnome could help with that.
Yeah, and as all of this is going on, the rest of the party is in fact waking up, and Elodie, you are finishing your meditation, and Scout, you're scouting as always. When you spot another set of tracks, these being very large and obviously reptilian, it is something out of a prehistoric nightmare of a footprint that you see. And that is where we draw to a close for this side quest. I want to thank you guys for playing. I want to thank anyone who's watching. And as always, everyone, good
Good
gaming.
gaming.